Venice rose to maritime dominance through a combination of geography, necessity, and deliberate choice rather than by accident or inherited power. Founded in a lagoon that offered natural protection but little agricultural wealth, the city was compelled from its earliest days to look outward to the sea for survival. This dependence fostered a culture in which navigation, shipbuilding, and commerce were not secondary activities, but the very foundation of political life. Over time, Venice developed a republican system that closely aligned the interests of the state with those of its merchant elite, ensuring that naval power, economic expansion, and diplomacy all served the same strategic goals. As Venetian merchants expanded their reach across the Adriatic and into the eastern Mediterranean, the city understood that protecting trade required more than agreements and profits. It required permanent, organized, and technologically advanced naval forces capable of asserting control over vital sea routes. The backbone of this system was the galley fleet, which Venice refined into a highly effective instrument of power. Galleys were fast, maneuverable, and well-suited to the enclosed waters of the Mediterranean, where control of narrow passages and coastal zones was essential. Venice did not use these ships solely for warfare, but as escorts for merchant convoys, deterrents against piracy, and symbols of authority in contested regions. By organizing trade into state-regulated convoys protected by armed galleys, Venice reduced risk, stabilized commerce, and made itself indispensable to merchants from many regions. This approach allowed the city to dominate trade between Europe and the eastern Mediterranean, handling spices, textiles, metals, and luxury goods that fueled its wealth and influence. Control of key ports and islands further strengthened this system, allowing Venice to secure supply lines, monitor rivals, and respond quickly to threats. A decisive factor in Venice's success was its ability to produce and maintain ships on an unprecedented scale. The Venetian Arsenal functioned as a highly organized industrial center where standardized components, specialized labor, and centralized management dramatically reduced construction times. This meant that Venice could replace losses quickly, expand its fleet when needed, and sustain long campaigns without exhausting its resources. Ship design and naval organization evolved together with careful attention to training, discipline, and coordination. Crews were increasingly professionalized, and naval operations were planned with precision, ensuring that fleets acted as cohesive units rather than as loosely connected vessels. This level of organization gave Venice a significant advantage over rivals who relied on ad hoc arrangements or private initiatives. Through this naval strength, Venice became a central actor in Mediterranean geopolitics. Its fleets influenced conflicts, secured alliances, and shaped the balance of power between major states. Venice often preferred indirect control to outright conquest, using treaties, economic pressure, and selective military action to maintain dominance while avoiding the costs of large territorial empires. This strategy allowed the city to preserve stability along its trade routes and to adapt to shifting political conditions without overextending itself. For centuries, this system proved remarkably effective, generating wealth, fostering cultural development, and reinforcing Venice's position as a maritime hub linking different civilizations. The decline of Venetian maritime dominance began when the conditions that had sustained it changed. New trade routes across the Atlantic reduced the importance of Mediterranean commerce, depriving Venice of its central role in global exchange. At the same time, advances in naval technology favored larger sailing ships better suited to open oceans, diminishing the strategic value of galleys. Venice was slow to fully embrace these changes, partly because its institutions and economic structures were deeply invested in existing methods. Prolonged conflicts, especially against expanding regional powers, drained resources and exposed the limits of a system designed for a different era. Internal rigidity combined with increasing competition made it difficult for Venice to reinvent itself at the pace required by a transforming world. Ultimately, Venice did not fall because of a single defeat or sudden catastrophe, but because the maritime environment that had once rewarded its strengths no longer existed. The city remained proud, wealthy, and culturally vibrant, but its fleets gradually lost the ability to shape events on a continental scale. The story of Venice's rise and decline illustrates how maritime power depends on geography, technology, organization, and global trade patterns, and how even the most successful systems must adapt or fade when those underlying conditions change.